All right, people, welcome back to Average Home Theater. We are live again for another remote. No, I lie, we're not live. But anyway, we're doing a little remote session with Dominic here. How's it going, Dominic?
Ape, no kill ape.
There you go. So today we're going to continue our discussion on getting ready for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And you got to watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, what, 2 nights ago?
Actually, I started a couple nights ago, but I was recapping it shortly before this call, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
pretty fresh. Yeah.
Pretty fresh. I watched it about a little over a month ago. I watched all three of them just because, like, once I got started, I couldn't stop. So I got
Yeah.
the hype from the trailer, got me all ready to go. So,
And this is one of those trilogies, kind of like some of the old school ones we've talked about, where like Back to the Future, like when you watch one, you kind of want to watch them all.
yeah, man. I mean, I had to. I love Caesar so much that I just can't get enough of him. So when I start watching it, I just want more Caesar. I just want to see him play that. I want to see Andy Serkis play that character. He's pretty amazing. I really, like I said in the last video, he's one of my favorite characters in a movie like ever. He's go ahead.
No, whenever he starts doing the con circuit, he's on your list, right?
I he, I think Andy Serkis is too big for me. Like I'm never gonna get to meet him because I'm not gonna make it to the LA con. I kind of stick more to the local ones. So,
Right.
but but if the opportunity ever arises, you can bet your sweet behind I will I will meet him and get his autograph. There's no doubt.
Right. I actually just found out a con that comes to Houston. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd are going to be there, and
Bruh,
I have to do it. And and the
when is
con,
it?
it's in May. It's towards the end of May.
Like this
And
year?
I just found out. Like
Oh,
I was like iffy if I was going to go or not, and I was like, oh, there's not really anybody big there. And my wife kept checking. She's like, yeah, there's nobody there. And then all of a sudden, it was like yesterday or the day before. It was very recent. And I
bruh.
was like, what? I think it was yesterday. I know. And like, I remember what you said about Christopher Lloyd getting up there in age. So I feel like if I don't go now, I might miss my chance.
I mean, look, I was going to Pensacon in April,
Mm-hmm.
and Louis Gossett canceled the week before,
Yeah,
and then he just passed away.
he did. I
So
saw that.
he, from the time he canceled to the time he passed away, it was only like 3 weeks.
Yeah, because I remember
So
you
I'm
talking about
guessing
it.
he wasn't feeling very well, and that's why he
Yeah,
canceled. But my heart was broken on that one.
totally. I know because you were so close to going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it says
Well,
right here, Back to the Future actors, Houston, May 24th through 26th. No, I don't
bruh.
know if they're there all 3 days, but it literally just broke.
The
Like it was
weekend
like yesterday.
before, I'm going the weekend before for the whole weekend to Texas Frightmare in Dallas.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
So
I,
all my money's going to be gone. I'm not going to have any
I
money
hear you.
left to go 2 weeks in a row.
Right. Well, I
Plus,
mean,
plus that's the weekend of my daughter's dance recital, so that's out.
yeah, I hear you. Um, I think I have to do it though, and I'll come
Oh,
back and report.
I expect pictures, and we're gonna show it on here, and we're gonna have a little discussion,
Sounds
no
good to
doubt.
me. All
All
right.
right, well let's get tracking here. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What year did this come out? 2014, so about 3 years after Rise came out.
Which is pretty quick. Since it's a different director, Matt Reeves did this one.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously he's kind of like a Nolan, like gritty. I get kind of Nolan vibes from him a little bit, like the way he like grounded is what I mean. Not really
Yeah,
gritty,
his
grounded.
his
Yeah.
directing style is very um what's the what I'm looking for? It's like very not direct, precise and intentional. Like
Yeah.
um now sometimes when I watched the Batman, it kind of got on my nerves a little bit. Um your boy trying to walk so cool and slow. I was
Oh,
like,
I
come
remember
on,
when
let's
you.
go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Speed it up. But it's kind of like that in here in some.
Mm-hmm.
some spots, but overall, this movie is like a masterpiece to me. I absolutely
Okay.
love this one.
And do like I want to like learn sign language and talk ape because those were my favorite
Ah,
parts is when they're communicating.
yeah. And what's great about this one is it's you see a little bit more of progression, right? They
Right.
for the most part they still sign the majority of their communications,
Mm-hmm.
but they do speak more and more in this one.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
it seems
nice
like
gradual.
certain apes are able to speak a little bit more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like his son, what's his son's name? I don't know if he speaks at all. Blue Eyes. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think he speaks at all
I don't think he
throughout
does
the whole
either.
movie. But like
Yeah,
Koba is, very intelligent and he speaks just as much as Caesar. So,
right. Caesar and Kobar talk the most, and then um, the orangutan says something
oh
because
yeah, Maurice finally speaks. Yeah.
yeah, that was a big moment. But yeah, I loved that all that world building with it, and this takes place about 10 years because when Maurice and Caesar are talking, which
Hmm.
I love that scene too because they're just like two dudes hanging out at the beginning when they're talking, and they say it's been 10 winters. So
Yep.
obviously, okay, it's about 10 years removed from the first one is where we're at. So then Caesar, we said he was 7 or 8 by the end of the
So he's
first one.
about
So
17,
here
18 years old.
yeah, something like that. And man, just like how much the apes have grown and man, the effects. Like I know the CGI was good in the one we just reviewed in the first one. They're even
Oh,
better here.
it was
Like
way
the
better in this
detail
one.
around his eyes and like the wrinkles in his face. And like after, I'd say after about 15 minutes, I stopped thinking that it was CGI and I was just into the story,
Yep.
So very well done CGI.
Well, and the fact that like you said, the movie is about 10 years later, so you see the overgrowth, you see, all of
Yeah,
that apocalyptic feel. So it's just a much different feeling movie than the first one was.
totally. And I like seeing the 76 gas station and like the little stuff
Hmm.
like that as they're going through. And that opening, we were just talking about openings recently. That opening with them hunting
Hmm.
the deer, that was awesome.
Yes, it was a great
Awesome.
scene because at first you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what's going on? You think they got war paint on and stuff like that. You think that
Mm-hmm.
they're about to do battle, but they're hunting. And then, of course, the bear comes out and is about to attack his son. Caesar helps him, but then, he's dealing with the bear and he starts yelling for who?
Yeah.
Koba.
Koba,
Because, and
the black sheep of the family.
yeah, but he's bad, bro. He's bad to the bone. And he shows up and the way he just jumps and does the whole
That was
spear
awesome.
thing. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they could have ate it there.
Hmm.
At least his son for sure.
And they have a
Um,
little guy to guy moment where they start laughing. Like,
Yeah, after it's gone. Yeah, I loved that. So like real, you know.
hmm.
Those are those moments that kind of made you forget and
Yeah.
then you forget you're watching CGI apes and then you're just into the film.
Yeah. Very
Um,
early on, they established that there, he basically has not really a council, but kind of, like
mhm.
there's a little bit of a hierarchy there. Of course, he's the man, but he has like Maurice is an advisor, Rocket is an advisor, Cobra
Yeah,
is like the muscle,
it's like a
it's
caste system. Like it's
yeah.
Caesar on top, and then he has his subsidiaries that listen to him, like like you said, Maurice and Rocket and all them, and then uh, you have Koba, and then you have all the other ones that just kind of follow the
Hmm.
hierarchy. It's cool. It's a natural progression.
Yeah. So the point of the movie is it's 10 years later, like we said, they're out doing their
Hmm.
thing and they think the humans are gone. Well, then lo and behold, his son and Rocket's son come across some humans who are walking,
Right.
and it's led by his name is Malcolm, and that's what's his name, Jason Clark. And it they end up, of course, shooting. One of them shoots at Rocket's son and grazes him,
Right.
and big old situation going on. But the point is, the humans are looking for the hydro power plant. They need to
Right.
get the water running and the plant running because they need power.
And the problem is it's in the apes territory.
It's in the apes territory. So we're at an impasse, as one would say.
Right.
Because the apes are like, this is our area. And anyway.
Yeah, and a
So,
lot of good actors. Jason Clarke, he's a really good actor.
mhm.
I first came across him in Zero Dark 30.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, yeah, he was great in that. And he's got like that, man, when he is surrounded by the apes and the look he gives in his eyes, like acting is incredible because
Oh, yeah.
in real life there's nothing around. But
Right.
he's acting like you would believe that he is surrounded by real
Yeah, like
apes.
he's being
The
pushed
dread on his
around by
face.
real gorillas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I loved that. And then
I
the
would be the same way as him, except I may have like a brown stain in the posterior area,
no
more than
kidding,
likely.
man. Gosh, especially those gorillas, man. They're so intimidating. Like, what are you going to do? Like,
Right.
unless you have a weapon, you can't do anything. You can
Right.
pray, you
But I
can't do
mean,
nothing.
same thing with a chimp or an orangutan. I mean, you don't have a shot, you know?
That's true. It's just but the gorillas are just like, they're like Arnold's, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like the Arnolds of the ape community. Yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
Um, but yeah, but our boy, I guess his name is Carver, uh, played by Kirk Acavito, I think, or something. He
Oh, he's the one
he's
that
the one that
shoots. Yeah.
shoots first, yeah,
He's
and
a coward.
yeah, and that kind of is what starts to unravel everything.
Right. That's really what, because Koba, sees the humans as a threat and they need to be eliminated. And Caesar doesn't believe that.
Right.
Going back to the first movie, he believes that there are many, many good humans, that the majority of them are good. They are just,
Mm-hmm.
there's just a select bad, to where Koba is complete opposite. He was tortured his whole life and
Right.
he just wants him gone. So
And
it
yeah.
starts his descent. He starts questioning Caesar, and things start to get out of hand.
Yeah, and what I like about this is in the true of the first and in this one, a lot in this one. I appreciate both of their point of views. Like if you were Koba, you would be
Absolutely.
against the humans. If you
Absolutely.
were Caesar, he was raised by a good man, like he says later in the movie. You'd be more rational, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I love that. Like neither side is, you know, no
Neither
one's
side
off.
is right or wrong. I mean,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Um,
that's what you call writing.
it's true. They thought
Okay.
about both sides. They didn't just have a bad guy show up.
Right.
Right.
It was very good writing. There was a dilemma there, and
Mm-hmm.
both sides have a point. So which one is right? What's the right? And it's one of those, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't,
Right.
type thing. So Caesar was really put kind of in an impossible scenario,
Right.
you
But he
know.
was also raised the best you could be raised to
Hmm.
handle that situation. So it's kind of like, man, he's in a horrible situation, but he was also bred for this
Because
moment.
look, Kobo was right, because Gary Oldman, who plays Dreyfus, he
Right.
he thought that the apes were a threat. Like,
Yeah.
we can't be friends with them,
Right. He
So
saw him as
Kobo
black and
was
white.
correct. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he blamed the death of his family on apes. And whether it was apes directly or the simian flu, kind of like your boy Carver believed that it was the apes' fault, no matter what.
Yeah.
And even though Kerry Russell, they were like, it was a man-made thing. What are you talking about?
In a
It's not their
lab.
fault. Right. It was made in a lab. So, and whatever.
And when I heard that though, it reminded me like, dang, it is just like what we were talking about the other week. It's just like the C word virus,
Wah, wah.
like to a T.
Mm-hmm.
Being made in a lab and all that stuff. So I appreciated that. But then again, on Carver's side, like there is some people that are not going to believe that we caused it. They're
Right.
going to blame the other whatever. So everybody's point of view really works to set this thing up. And and I love when they say when Caesar's like humans work, like to the dam, and
Mm-hmm.
Koba's like human work, and he's
Oh, yeah,
pointing to
yeah.
all his
Human
injuries.
work. He was mad.
Yeah.
He was pissed. But then your
But
boy
it,
Caesar stands up and Koba shuts that down quick. And he's like,
right, he does. Yeah, and I love how they're still doing the hand
mm-hmm,
thing as like a
mm-hmm.
submission like they did before.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so he knew his place. Mm-hmm.
before that, they went to remember Koba was like, we need to show strength or whatever. And he said, we will show strength. So they show up
Mm-hmm.
um, with the bag that was left behind and they're on the horses and all. I mean, that is just a phenomenal shot
Oh,
of watching the apes just slowly walk on their horse. What did he call them? Ride the horses,
oh
um,
yeah, that was awesome
approaching
shots.
the
Yeah.
gates, and it's like holy crap! And as they're as they are walking away, as the apes, as Caesar turns around and everything, your boy Koba is staring down Clark like he just wants to just rip him to shreds. Right?
Right.
He's got the bat. He's got like a club on his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like the best shot of the whole movie
That is a good
by
shot. And he's
far.
just like, all Caesar has to say is go.
Oh yeah, and
And
it's
it's
on like a
on.
pot of chicken. Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
I love that. Um, and yeah, so they try to like reason with each other. Um, and then it's really Jason Clark that says, let me go and I will try to reason with them and give me 3 days because Gary
Yeah.
Oldman's like, no, we're doing this now. Because if we don't kill them, they're going to kill us. Um, and we can't do anything without the power. We need
Yeah,
that.
they were running out of fuel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had like 2 weeks worth, or that's it, anyways. So, I appreciated all that of him going back, figuring it out, and um, and the back and forth with like, there's moments where I'm trying to remember, like it
Well,
almost
Carver,
goes
they find Carver has a gun,
right.
so he almost blows it at that point.
Yes,
Once
and
again,
then mhm,
where Koba, was right. Once again, you can't trust them because they're doing stupid things. Um, yeah, and all of that stuff just adds to the tension because the whole time you're like, okay, will they stop being stupid?
right, it's going
Caesar's
to blow
letting
at
them
any minute.
do. Let's just go.
Right. And then so the guy almost blows it when because Caesar's son like jumps into the toolbox or
Right,
something.
yeah.
And then he pulls the gun on him, which you're not supposed to have guns. They surrendered him.
Mm-hmm.
But then Caesar's wife is in trouble, from the baby. So then Carrie Russell's like, okay, so then it starts to tip back that way.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna help y'all.
She gives her antibiotics.
Right. And then they give him he says like one more day or something, and he gives them
Mm-hmm.
more time in the plant. So it's like, man, they almost lose it here, and then oh wait, then they regain trust. And then they
Mm-hmm.
almost lose it again, and then they regain trust. That teeter-totter, that back and forth, gives it tension because it's kind of a slow build, but then it's like it could go at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of propels the whole thing forward.
And in the meantime, your boy Koba is going on field trips to see
Yeah.
what the humans are up to. And you have the great scene with the when they first see him,
Uh-huh.
like he's there and he finds all the weapons and everything, and they're like, the two guys find him and tell him to get out, and he goes
Right.
and he starts playing dumb.
He's genius, man.
Yeah, so they let him go.
Yeah.
And then he of course he comes back later on and
Mm-hmm.
basically starts the war is
Yeah,
what he
he
does.
does. And his Koba's justification in that moment was, all right, they're playing nice, but they've got all this arsenal and they're
Right,
gathering all these guns, which they are. Like,
right. And
you
he
can
was
kind of
saying
see.
as soon as they get what they want, they're gonna come kill us.
Right. But then ultimately, Koba basically just murdering those two guys in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
After that point, you can't side with them anymore.
No, no. Like
Yeah.
he's talking to a dog or something. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. And it's so direct. Everything they say
Mm-hmm.
is so direct and precise and few words, but like strong words. It's really cool how they did the language. And with that, so
Well,
from
he goes and I don't remember, scene by scene, but
Yeah.
Koba basically frames the humans by shooting Caesar himself and making it look like a human shot him,
Yeah.
and then burns down their habitat.
And I
So
like how
he
it's
gets
done in
all
dark.
the right. It's done in the dark. Nobody knows they
Mm-hmm.
can't see anything, and that's how Koba gets all of the apes to follow him.
Right.
Humans kill Caesar, and I don't know what he says after that. Must attack or something like that. So
Right.
yeah, that's where it all goes down.
Yeah. And that's another real moment too, because like in real war, like you go with the first thing you hear. You don't know for sure who shot first or what. So that's very believable that all the apes would believe Koba, you know? And Caesar's son kind of is following under Koba's
Oh,
wing
absolutely.
because and it's not till later on that he realizes, oh, he's going too far,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and because then he starts killing apes too.
Hmm.
Like if they're not following his orders, he's done with them. So that kind of shows like, okay, he's not balanced by anything. It's just
Yeah,
his
I
way or
mean,
no way.
he kills Rocket's son later, at towards the end of the movie, or maybe
Yeah.
around the middle. He throws him over the
Is that the one he throws over the balcony?
yeah, that was Rocket's
Yeah,
son,
that
the
was
one
crazy.
that had gotten shot earlier.
Right. That was crazy because then at that point it's like, okay, that was kind of
Yeah,
your justification.
that's when Caesar's son is like, "Holy crap, he's lost his
Yeah.
damn mind," you know.
Gosh, I know. So then thankfully, Clark and them they're able to find Caesar
Hmm.
and give him the medical aid he needs. And man, their conversations are great. Like um, he's the one that Caesar reveals to them that it was Koba that did it,
Hmm.
and um, the whole thing is that when they're back at the house and he
Well,
watches the
yeah,
video,
he tells them it was ape. I don't think he said Koba. He
he
said
says
not
ape to the
human.
humans, but to
Right.
his son he says it was Koba.
Right, but that's after they
Yeah,
get back to the house. Yeah.
right.
And by that
Um,
point, the apes have already stormed the human gates and everything, and have them all in cages and all that stuff. That's already happened by that point.
Yeah, and I really like that, like, because Clark kind of has the mindset I would, like, all right, hurry, let's go, let's get going, let's go
Hmm.
tell them. And he's like, dude, Caesar's like, it's already the war's already begun.
Right.
He's like, it's heartbreaking because he's like, dude, we tried. You're a good guy, I'm a good guy, but lines
Oh
are
yeah,
drawn.
that's at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end. Um,
But it was a sweet little getting back to where we were. It was a sweet little
sorry,
moment because when he's in the house, um, he finds the little recorder and he sees a video of James Franco, and Clark sees him and asks him, who was that? And he said, what he said, a good man or something like
he said
that. And
a good man like you.
yeah, a good man like you. So, they
I
have
love
that
that scene
good little
too.
moment. And then that's when he tells him, okay, because I think his son brought back um, some of the apes. I don't know who he brought back, if it was Rocket or I can't remember. Um, and then
There
they,
was some with him, yeah.
yeah, they decide that we need to go now because
Hmm.
it's about to get real. But anyway, the scene we skipped over for the scene where the apes attack. I mean, dude, is there anything more like greater to see on screen than a bunch of apes with M16s? Ah,
Dude, and it
and
looks so, yeah.
he picks
And,
up a saw, a M249, and he's shooting that. I mean, it's just that stuff's just great.
no, and it looks so good.
Yeah, it does. Looks great.
Eh, like the
The
backgrounds,
movie's already 10 years old.
I can't believe it's 10 years old. That's insane because it's been a little bit since I've watched this until recently. And I can't believe it's that old already.
Yeah,
It
man.
still feels new.
I know. I think about
Crazy.
stuff. I was thinking about a movie the other day. I watched Eddie and the Cruisers, and I hadn't seen that since I was a kid. It came out in like 1983 or something, and my sister, one of my older sisters, loved it. So of course I watched it when I was a kid. But I started thinking, yeah, I haven't seen that since. I'm like, holy crap, 30
Yeah.
years? How the hell can I remember? 30 years ago, I was 13. You
I
know?
know.
So
It's so weird, man, with the passage of time. Once you get like in your 30s
once you
and
get old, yes, you can say it.
yeah, I mean it's interesting, but then it's also really weird.
Yeah.
Um, but back to this. I'm glad you brought up that James Franco scene because that's one of my favorite shots in the movie. Is him going back to that video recorder and
Mhm.
reliving that. And did you notice all the symbols of the window throughout the movie?
Yes.
I loved that. Like um, at the very beginning of the movie, on the cliff that he preaches or talks on,
Mhm.
there's one,
There's one
and
right
then
there.
I love that, like because that's like home to him. That's like his cross or something.
Mhm.
That's what reminds him of who he is and where he's come from. So that's cool. I like that a lot. Um, but yeah, it sets it up really good for the third movie. You know, because you have apes on horses now. You definitely have war between the two, and the apes are continuing to get smarter and stronger.
Mhm. Oh, back to that scene where they first approach to show strength whenever whenever Caesar goes apes, and they're all like, because none of them had ever heard him speak before, and
That's right.
I try to put myself in that position. Like once again, the little brown spot would come out in the back. If all of a sudden they started talking.
Or at the beginning when he yells, "Go!"
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's good. And then one part that kind of like freaked me out is once Caesar falls, they're jumping back a little bit when Koba shoots Caesar, and then Maurice just turns over to the humans and goes,
Run.
"Run."
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
hearing that? It's like, oh my
And I
gosh,
uh,
it's right.
and
Like
I
we're
promise
dead.
you, you wouldn't have to say it a second time.
No, that
Okay.
was a good moment, man.
Yep. Time to go. Time to go.
Yeah. And kind
So the
of
final showdown.
mhm,
Um, whenever Caesar and Koba are fighting, um, you're gonna have to refresh my memory because I can't remember exactly what he said. Something
right.
about uh Caesar weak, trust humor or something like that. And he said Koba weaker, but he says something else. Do you remember what the quote was?
I'm trying to remember.
Caesar, weak. Koba, weaker.
But throughout the whole movie, they're saying, an ape doesn't kill ape, right?
Hmm.
Like that's something that they
That's what he
live
says. He
by.
says Koba, not ape, or something like that. He tells him
Oh, at
basically
the
he's
end,
not an
okay,
ape. Yeah.
right, yeah. The way Caesar justifies it is Koba's hanging there, and then Koba says, "Ape, don't kill ape," and then Caesar said, "Koba, not ape," something like
Yeah.
that. Which makes sense because at that point you're killing our own kind. You're
Yep.
not one of us anymore.
Hmm.
You know. So I liked how by Caesar saying that he could still live by that code. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
And by the way,
Because
watching that movie in here, holy
I bet that
crap.
was amazing.
Oh, dude, the sound is amazing in this movie. The sound in the first one is very, it's just kind of basic. I mean, it's just a regular 5.1 mix. It's nothing outstanding. But
Right.
this one, I think it still is just a 5.1 DTS mix, but it is very dynamic. And in that scene where all the everything's collapsing, after Koba falls and all, and the bomb, because
Right. On the scaffolding and all
what's
that.
his name,
Hmm.
Dreyfus blows up, everything. That whole
Right.
scene just it looks and sounds amazing in here.
I need to watch like the last 30 minutes over there.
Yeah, next time you come to the house, we'll watch it.
Yeah. Because yeah, to your point, the first one wasn't action heavy really till the last like 20 minutes.
Hmm.
This one's got way more action in it. Um, throughout the whole thing because that end battle is long,
Yeah.
because it keeps cutting back and forth, with to Caesar and all that. But no, that's this second movie is so well done. I know
Oh
that
yeah.
it's that now watching these first two back to back almost that I do like the second one more.
Oh,
I like
absolutely.
I like both though. Like both are really good. And
Yeah, but
the
it's
second one,
it's the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy. There's no doubt.
That's a good comparison.
It's definitely the best one of the three. We also forgot to mention how Maurice befriends what's her name's son.
Oh, Clark, yeah, the son.
Ellie's son. It's actually not Clark. It's not Malcolm's son. It's her son, right? Or it's his son. It's not hers. That's what it is.
It's his son, but they're kind of together.
But they're together. Yeah.
Right.
But he befriends Maurice. That's a pretty cool little subplot throughout the movie. You get like 3 or 4 little scenes with them looking at the books and the art and all that stuff.
Especially because Maurice says early on, Maurice says something like, well, I don't know the humans like you do. I didn't have that opportunity.
Right.
And he gets that opportunity. So that was cool to fulfill like kind of his character a little bit.
He was having the boy explain things to him in the book, things that he had never seen.
Yeah.
And things he had never seen or didn't know about humans, I guess.
Yeah. And for a side character, Maurice is a really cool character too.
Maurice is awesome.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Maurice is awesome.
Just to look at him.
It's played by a woman.
Oh, really?
Karen Konoval. I mean, I don't know who she is. I just saw that. But yeah, and you notice Cornelia is Caesar's wife. It's Judy Greer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either.
Well, she doesn't exactly have a big part. They could have used anybody, but
right.
I guess maybe they want her.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Overall, this movie it's probably I'd love to say a 10 out of 10. I mean, I don't know anything that's wrong with it to give it.
It's up there.
Less than a 10, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's up there. I'm trying to think. The only thing I could think of that could be fleshed out more, and this is a nitpick because I'm trying to think of something, is like the power plant stuff. They really don't explain what they're fixing and what they're just pushing. They really don't explain how they fix it.
And they may in some cut footage, but the movie was already over 2 hours long. They probably said, okay, let's cut it. We don't need it. Let's just cut it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a nitpick. I mean, yeah, but that's really all I could think of is you don't really know exactly how they fix it, and then, yeah, I mean, if you have to think that hard, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. It's definitely a solid movie. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, but it doesn't really feel like that because it's so good and it moves at a fast enough pace to where I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. Now the third one does, and we'll get into that when we cover that one. But I find the third one is slow, and it's kind of like, I wish they'd have picked up the pace a little bit in that one. But this one, to me, is fine, just like it is.
I can't wait to go back and revisit the third one because I hadn't watched it since it came out.
I may have to rewatch, even though I just watched it. I may have to rewatch it again because I want to say that was only the second time I had ever seen it.
Yeah, so. I don't know it that well. And yeah, I don't remember liking it as much, but I'm kind of watching it with fresh eyes now when I go back because I know Woody Harrelson's in it, and Woody Harrelson's always good, so we'll see.
Yeah, but don't, producer Nick doesn't like Woody Harrelson, but he likes every Woody Harrelson movie.
It's just Woody. He feels like a real. I don't know, man. And everything I love Woody Harrelson.
I think he's great. I think he's great, but that's just a little ongoing joke with me and producer Nick. He's like, I really don't like Woody Harrelson. I was like, okay, well, do you like Zombieland? Oh, I love Zombieland. Well, do you like The Cowboy Way? Oh, I love The Cowboy Way. But every Woody Harrelson movie I name, he loves it. I was like, then why do you say you hate Woody Harrelson?
I guess he's gonna have to say something in the comments.
Yep, we'll see.
Something I was gonna say real quick, how you said the pacing is better here in the second movie. I think part of that is due to multiple things going on at the same time. Like you have the Caesar storyline, you have the Maurice storyline, you have the Koba storyline, you have the human one. And you know what I mean? There's more than one thing. The first movie was a little more streamlined, where it was really a lot of those scenes were really just James Franco and Caesar in the house. it cut to his job a little bit, but it was mainly, you know what I mean? It didn't
Mhm.
cut as much. I think that helps with it.
But I
And
think
then
we
this
can
is way
all
more action
agree
packed.
that the best part of this movie was Koba.
Oh, he was great.
He was phenomenal. He was the best part of the whole movie. Without Koba, this movie, I mean, it would have still been okay, but it wouldn't have been what it is without him and that guy's performance, whatever his name is. I mean,
Yeah.
he was unreal.
No, I mean,
Toby
Caesar's,
Kebbell, whoever
I
that
wonder
is.
what yeah, he was great though. Caesar's still my favorite, just like I identify with his position, like trying to please everybody and reason with everybody. And the words he says, you could tell he really thinks about everything he says. But a movie lives and dies on the villain. And if it would have just been insert villain, it would not have been as good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Agree. Cool
mhm.
deal. Well, I think that was a good little wrap up there, Dominic.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get the next one out soon. May 10th is whenever the Kingdom comes out. So we got until May 10th to get the last one done.
I think we're going to do it, man. We're doing pretty good.
I think so. This weekend's kind of busy for me.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but maybe next week we'll see, and
Yeah.
we'll try to get it done.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. And then that way we can be all ready for the new one. So
That's it, brother. That's it.
yeah.
All
Awesome.
right. Well, thanks for joining us. Once again, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will catch you on the next one. See you later.